Welcome to the Social Chameleon Show, where it's our goal to help you learn, grow, and transform into the person you want to become. We're going to do a little new series we come up with. It's called What You Should Know About Today, Things Around the House. If you guys have been around on the social media and stuff and things, maybe some of you I text, we're looking for ideas on things you think we should know. Maybe people don't know, and things that we all should know, especially transitioning into, being an adult or, getting your own place or things like that.
Adulting is hard.
So hard. It's so hard. But we thought it'd be fun to talk about a few different things, like basic maybe skills or techniques, or using different things or different ideas about things around the house to help you not have to hire a handyman or not feel helpless or whatever, or being able to kind of fend for yourself, being self-sufficient and whatnot. I mean, the goal in life, in my view, is to know how to do the things and then get to a point where you can hire people to do them for you, and you can focus on higher level things. So, with that said,
yeah, and I don't know how we picked any of these. We just kind of was thinking about what kind of things do we know, and how did we come to learn about that? I don't really know how the subject came up, but it's just kind of weird,
Mm-hmm. That was the most interesting part when I was thinking about it. You posed this, we should do an episode on this stuff, and I was like, I can't think of anything. And then I woke up at 5 a.m. and I had to just start banging this list out. And I started thinking, how did I learn these things? I don't even know. I can't even think back to how I even know how to change a tire or change oil or, put in a light switch. I don't even know how I learned those things. It's just, and when we were growing up, there was no YouTube videos on how to, fix your toilet. You had to, go to the library and borrow a book about it or find somebody that knew how to do it. Or
just try it out yourself and hope it works out for the best.
Oh, Jesus. Yep. That's not the one it's still on. Somebody turn off the light switch, please.
Oh, that's funny.
But go ahead.
No, I was going to say this. Let's go down the list, I guess, as far as what we were talking about.
So we're doing things around the house today. So let's start off with some kitchen basics.
All right. Kitchen basics.
Ransom, do you know how to use a knife, the proper way to use a knife?
I haven't gone to culinary school.
Right.
I went to school for the healthcare profession.
Right.
But I kind of sort of remember somewhere along the line learning it in the kitchen anyway. When you're cutting, you basically kind of use your fingers as a guide. I don't know, it's not the best here, but you kind of just digits or your fingernails in there to kind of help guide your knife down towards it. So if this were the vegetable per se, this little whiteout vegetable, you kind of put your fingers on it like that, and then you kind of have your knife kind of come down at an angle. Sorry, I can't really hold it and do it the right way without cutting board, but
that's still, sorry guys, it's a little dark for you guys in the video. It's a little dark in Hawaii right now, but yeah, for the audio guys, so it's just curling your fingertips back in that first knuckle kind of thing, and then using your flat kind of knuckles to guide the knife down so you don't chop your fingers off or chop your fingernails off while you're cooking food. But what about holding a knife? You remember did you learn how to hold a knife? Have you ever seen videos or anybody ever teach you the way?
I'm basically holding a knife. I don't really know. I mean, you just watch all the kung fu movies. Some of them hold it upside down with a little grip or whatever. Generally, you keep the blade away from you.
Right.
And even just in general, I mean, if you're not on a cutting board with a knife, in general, you should cut, with the blade away from the body, until you get skilled enough to cut inward. But even then, you do so with caution.
Absolutely. I know there's a lot of different kitchen knife holding techniques. I tend to have maybe a few fingers down onto the blade and a lot of handles sticking out the back of my hand. I know some of the people, they go a lot more maybe down the handle. I don't know, maybe a few years ago I was like, how does Gordon Ramsay do this? And he had a good little video on YouTube about how to chop and how to hold a knife, and I learned a lot from that, even though I had been doing it for many years. But I don't know if I remember anybody ever teaching me except Gordon Ramsay. But
Gordon Ramsay. And then speaking of knives, like, do you know how to sharpen a knife there, Tyson?
You know, I never knew until maybe a few years ago. I went and I had bought some.
Really?
I want to get some new knives. And, I really want to invest in some really good knives. So I bought some knives. And I said, well, now I've got to learn how to sharpen these things because we all know a dull knife in the kitchen is very dangerous. Like a lot of people are like, oh, the knife's really sharp. I'm like, that's actually good. Like you're less likely to cut and hurt yourself the sharper your knife is. I learned that the hard way because you ever have a dull knife trying to cut something, that is not fun.
Yeah, you're trying to get leverage and squeeze on. But I mean, at the same time, I think a sharper knife is safer because you can cut easier with less effort. But again, if you go back to the basics, right, you want to cut away from you want to use knuckles and or your a little guide so that you don't cut yourself with it. But yeah. But anyway, back
the same thing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, back to the sharpening story that you were talking about.
No, but that's just I got the knives and then I was like, well, I read the thing how they recommend sharpening them, and they recommended stones. They said, for those knives I bought, they recommend no steel, no, and I guess those automated or those little like self-guided ones they say are not the greatest thing to use.
They're not, I guess, for the most part. If you can do it with a stone on your own, like believe me, it's a lot longer to do it that way.
Yeah.
But I mean, the better quality knife you have, if you want to keep that knife around, it's better to do with a stone. But nowadays they make things a lot replaceable. So
yeah, they do make things really disposable.
If you make them a run-of-the-mill knife, it doesn't really do well.
Right.
But I have found that those automatic cutter things, they work really good on serrated edges.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they do kind of mess it up a little bit, but to sharpen it regularly, a serrated edge, that's just it's a lot of work, man.
Yeah, and I got a little round sharpening stone, and it just, I like to put on a basketball game or something, or a football game I don't really care to be really watching, or the kids are watching a movie that I don't really care to watch, but they want me present for it, and then I'll sit there and sharpen it. It's hard. Like sharpening a stone, like go watch some really good videos. I spend a lot of time watching a bunch of different people. I watch some professional knife company. They have, I think it's, I think Korean or something like that. I'll try and link the videos for you guys. They have the guys in Japan. They're showing how they do it. And it's like a lot of work, and it takes a lot of time to like get used to how the stone works, and it took me a long time. I think this last time I sharpened my knives was like the best I've ever done, and I've been doing it for like a couple years. Like it's a lot of work, but man, like those knives are like, it's night and day when you get a good sharp knife. It's so great.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. But I mean, it just kind of like, those are the things that I don't really know how I learned it. I guess I just kind of hung out with a lot of outdoorsy folk, and they just knife is a tool out there in the wilderness, and like
right.
Knife can't really do too much at all. So
I've also heard some higher end knife stores, they will do whetstone sharpening for you. I haven't tried it yet because I wanted to learn how to do it myself, so I know how to do it. So maybe it's something you guys can give it a try, because it is really hard to get good at and practice, and it does take a lot of time. But
what is that metal sharpening thing called? The little spike that's got the file on it?
Oh, it's a hone.
A hone. That's what you called it. I was like,
a
hone. I was like, I like your hones.
I actually have a ceramic one. The knives I have, the global knives, they recommend not to use the metal hones, so they sell a ceramic one. So I have a ceramic one that I use for my knives.
Interesting.
And then also the ceramic comes unscrewed, so you can, once it gets worn out, you just unscrew the ceramic and rescrew another piece of ceramic rod on. So it's nice. You don't have to, throw the metal thing away and get another one. It's quite nice. It is nerve-wracking though, because it's I don't want to say it's brittle, but it is, ceramic, right? So I've had it for maybe 3 or 4 years, and I haven't broken it yet. So, but it's nice every time. That's something that they say to do, as the chefs say. Every time you grab a knife before you start, you hit it on the hone a few times, that technique's hard to get down too. That's like, I mean, you see like Gordon Ramsay's like, I'm like, dude, slow down. Like I'm like really slowly like doing it, but it does make a difference. You get that kind of crisping up the edge a little before you start cooking.
Yeah,
it's nice. I like to hit it 10 times.
And I don't know if it's necessary for like kitchen knives and stuff like that, but I know like the old school barbers with the straight razor.
Yeah.
They even hit it like with a leather strap after that. Like,
right. Oh, actually, it's called a strop. But yeah, so but that's what you're supposed to do. Even with your kitchen knives, it's okay. I had to learn this stuff, man. I spent I don't know how many hours like looking at videos. But they say after you're done, I don't have one yet. I was looking at a few online and whatever. Some people say just go to Goodwill and get a leather belt or an old belt, cut the leather off and like tack it to a piece of wood. But you're supposed to, after, even if your kitchen knives, all your knives, all your, even a lot of guys when they sharpen their tools or axes and things like that, hatchets and stuff, you hit it with the strop. I guess it cleans that edge up real quick and real nice. I haven't done that yet. I've got to get one for myself.
I don't even know what that's about, but I see it all the time.
Yeah.
You know.
I guess it's supposed to polish the edge up a little.
Don't know, man. I don't know. But that's just like some of the things, you know. It's just like basic things in life that I don't know. I think adults should know, but some adults don't know. And even for me, it's like when you ask, like, how did you learn that? It's like, I don't really know how I learned that.
Yeah. I think to me, the point of the series is just to familiarize yourself with these different things. So when you go, you know, maybe you're not good at these things, or you don't want to, or you don't have the want or desire to spend the time to do it. At least you know, and you bring your knives or whatever to somebody, and you're like, oh, here, can you sharpen these? And they're like, oh yeah, I got the sharpening, you know, grinder back here. And like, whoa, no, I want stones. You know what I mean? At least you know the difference. You know, there's a different type of edge and a different type of thing that happens with these things.
That's true.
Because even I was at my grandma's yesterday. She needed a couple of things done around her house, and she was telling me about her car, and she drives like 100 miles a month. And she was saying, oh, I gotta redo my brakes and this and that. And she just went over 5,000 miles on her car. I'm like, you don't need to do any of that stuff. She's like, oh, but they were telling me at the thing. And I'm like, you don't need to do any of that. You don't drive enough to do that stuff. And it's like, so because I was like, I'll look over everything real quick. I was like, look at the fluid, look at all this stuff. It's crystal clear. There's nothing wrong. You don't need to do anything. Like, leave your car alone. You don't drive very much. Just change your oil once a year. That you'll be just fine, you know. But without having that base knowledge, you know, people can tell you things that, you know, especially if they're experts, or maybe they're in a position to portray themselves as an expert and they're not, you know, you're not going to get taken advantage of, or, you know, do these services or different things that you don't need, you know. And I was sometimes to my grandma, I was like, oh, you know, but before we had to do all these things all the time. I'm like, right. The fluids were different back then. The parts were different back then. These things were so different. The technology's come so far that you don't need to do these things as often as you used to do. You know, like my car, I'm coming up on 150,000 miles. I've had to do nothing. You know, I had to change some fluids at 100,000 miles, and that was it. And I just change oil every 10,000 miles. Nothing else needs to be done. You know, so it's the technology and the things and the longevity of things are really a lot better now. But so having that base knowledge can help you. I mean, just grab an owner's manual. I know people are like, throw these things in the garbage. But a lot of times the information's there. These engineers have spent time writing this book out, and it's there for you to save yourself, you know, money and time, and get us a small base of knowledge so you're aware when you're trying to do these things.
Yeah. No, that's true. And then even, I don't know, you kind of switch over to automobiles, but I kind of remember.
That was just an example.
Yeah. Kind of like the cooking thing or whatever, just kind of staying on that. Like, you know, like when you boil water or something like that, like people were like adding salt to it or adding oil to the water.
Right.
Kind of like, I forget where I heard it, but they were like saying like, oh yeah, when you add salt to water, like it makes it boil faster.
No, does not. And actually, when we were prepping for this, you were like, listen, fool, it does. And then you looked it up, and what did you find?
I can't remember exactly. I thought it did.
Right.
And then you asked me why, and I was like, oh, because it changes the chemical properties of water, which it does do. But it actually takes longer to boil when you put salt in it.
Right.
Otherwise, because you increase the boiling point, you know, if you want to get down to the science of it. So your water actually boils at a hotter temperature.
Right. Yeah. Now, if you want hotter temperature water, then that's a technique. But the converse to that, maybe not even that necessarily, but another trick that to kind of demonstrate that is if you really want to chill beverages or whatever really quickly, you put ice, a little bit of water, and salt, because that lowers the temperature of the water. Yeah. You know, it makes the water colder faster.
Yeah. Well, it just lowers the freezing point.
The freezing temperature, right? Exactly. So, but that's the same. You know, it's the same thing. So you got to be careful with that. You know, I like to let the water, you know, come to a boil, and then I throw some salt in there because you want to, you know, sometimes you want the salt flavor of the pasta or whatever you want in there, different things.
And then I think the oil thing, when you put oil in it, is like supposed to keep the noodles from sticking together or something like that.
I've heard that. I think it's a old wives' tale too. I don't do that. I went to a Italian cooking class, this guy from Italy, and he's like, don't do that nonsense. Put a little, after you drain it, put a little olive oil on and give it a toss. Seems to work for me.
Makes sense. It's like if you're trying to put the oil in the water while you're boiling it to make it more lubricated in the strainer, it's like, why don't you just put the oil in the strainer and you'll actually give your noodles flavor at the same time.
Yeah.
This does come true.
But it's like, I'm sure we all remember those little experiments in elementary school, and like you put a little oil in the water and what happens? It floats. So if your noodles are down here in the water and the oil's on top, I don't know how that's going to do anything.
I don't know. I remember the baking soda, the vinegar.
Vinegar and baking soda and vinegar. Hey, that's a great way to clean out your drains.
Yes.
Throw some baking soda down your drain, and then you chase that with vinegar. It'll just foam up and help clean that out.
I just remember the volcano for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what are the other kitchen stuff we talked about? What is that, like steak?
Yeah.
Like, you know how to cook steak?
Right. Or any meat that you need to
in general
a certain doneness to.
Yeah. How done would you like?
Chicken, you know, like, you know, some pork chops, whatever. You know, I like me a good, you know, elk steak or some venison. Anybody's got bear meat, I would be highly interested in trying that.
What was that other creature that you had? The pig, bear, or something like that? What is that thing?
Oh, the mangalista?
Mangalista.
Yeah, it's a pig sheep hybrid.
No, it's a made up animal, dude. It's like a unicorn.
Not a unicorn, and it's delicious. If you want to see blood red pork,
a liger.
It looks like that's a real thing too. Yeah, mangalista, it's delicious. It's really hard to get, but it's a pig, but the meat looks like beef. It's very interesting, and it's really good.
Yeah. But anyway, I
hear that breeds them.
As far as the doneness goes, I call it the thumb to finger trick. I don't really know. It sounds kind of weird, but
yeah,
you're watching. But basically, you take your index finger and your thumb, put them together, and then you kind of feel that muscle on your thumb right there to see where it's at, and then that's your rare, and then as you go down the line, right, you get a little bit more done.
The middle finger and then the ring.
And this is like your beef jerky.
Right. Listen, people, don't ever cook your steak well done. Okay? You're ruining it.
Hey, some people just, you know, they're kind of worried about all the parasites that are in there. So it's okay.
I can't speak to that. I mean, pork, be careful. Please cook to the recommended degrees, and chicken.
Even that though, that comes from, you know, the old days too, when because the pork tapeworm is actually a lot more harmful to you than the beef tapeworm.
Right.
If you got beef tapeworm, it was okay, you know, but when you get a pork tapeworm, that's when you start bleeding out and stuff like that. So
interesting.
It's interesting facts there. But if you do have a thermometer,
look at those temperatures.
You do have a thermometer, and you put it in the center, and it's hot enough, then most of the parasites should be killed.
Now, get yourself a good quality, you know, instant read thermometer. I like I think it's Chef's Choice, something like that. I'll link the ones I like. But I mean, it's just real quick. You can just poke a little tap, and ensure your meat's cooked well or not too well or whatever you want. There's different things. You know, chicken. Everybody hates an overcooked, dried out piece of chicken. That's just like the worst. You know?
I don't know, man. I think
even when you're cooking chicken, a good technique to
probably worse, but
But a good technique to know when you're cooking chicken is when that juice starts to come out and it turns clear, the chicken is done. So that's a nice little thing to know as well. When you're cooking, you're cooking chicken. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. When the chicken starts to kind of bleed a little bit, it's like this milky color, and as the more it gets cooked, the liquid winds up turning a clear color. Generally, the chicken is done at that point.
Right.
But as you're learning, definitely get a little thermometer, and you'll start to learn real quick. That's what I did when I first started learning. I got a little thermometer and I started, like verifying, like, is this the right doneness? I hit the thermometer, like, yep, okay, that's where I want it, or no. Now I can kind of touch the meat, and I can kind of tell. I've kind of learned over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the I don't know. I guess I got the whole Chamorro barbecue thing too. It's like if you're flipping meat on the grill, like I don't know. I kind of call it like the floppy test. So sorry, Guam, we call them the tongs. If you have the tongs to like pick up the meat, and like you grab it and it's like super floppy, and it's not really done. But you can, similar to how you can touch
it.
But when you're on the barbecue grill, you don't really want to touch it because it's hot. But you can grab it and then you can kind of give it a little wiggle. So if it like wiggles too much, then it's like, it's too much. And then if you're grabbing it and it's like your cell phone and it's just like, that's just way too done.
Somewhere in between steak tartare and beef jerky.
Somewhere in between. But yeah, there's a little finesse to it too on the grill. It's like that.
Get your guys' grill nice and hot. Sear that meat. There's a nice little technique I like to do on the grill. I learned reverse sear. That's pretty fun. So you have like coals on one side and then the meat on the other side, and you put the meat away from the coals and you let the meat come up to temperature, and then you bring the meat over to the coals and then you sear it. That's a really fun. You get some nice doneness throughout the steak. There's not those you ever cook a steak and it's real like well done on the top and bottom parts, and then the middle is still maybe not quite where you want it or whatever. That technique kind of helps not do that because it's away from the heat, so it kind of slowly cooks on the other side, and you hit a nice good crust on it on the other sides. That's really fun to do.
Interesting.
There's lots of fun. I mean, get on the internet, guys. There's so many great cooking shows. I've been into sous vide lately, maybe for the past 3 or 4 years, and it's you get a tub of water, and then you put your food in like a Ziploc bag or a vacuum seal bag, and there's this little machine that keeps the water circulating and at a constant temperature, and you just put food in there, and you can go a few hours, different things. It's really easy to throw a couple steaks in there, go shower.
Defrost it. So does it cook it or does it defrost it?
It cooks it. So it cooks it in a water bath. So it's sort of like boiling it in a way, but it's in a bag, so you can put your seasoning and stuff in there, and you put it in the bag, and then the water circulates around the meat, and then once the meat comes up to temperature, it stays there, so you can't overcook anything. No, really.
That's interesting.
You guys ever had a sous vide steak? Those are some of the best steaks you can have. So you bring that steak up to 120, 135, depends how you like it. You take it, you hit it. It looks disgusting. You take it out of a bag. It's got this weird, like, kind of vacuum sealed, kind of like flatted. It's all weird. Like the fat's all weird and stuff.
As you rip it open, you hear a little.
Yeah, right. But once you hit it with a nice quick sear, you either get a really hot pan or you get a really hot grill, and you just sear both sides real quick, or they have like little blowtorch things you can sear the things with or whatever, and you just get this. The steak from end to end is perfectly the same. It's all medium rare, whatever you like. The whole steak from top to bottom is all that one doneness, and you just sear the top and bottom. You've got a perfectly done steak instead of having an 1/8 or a 1/4 inch of well done on the top and the bottom, in the middle, being on the ends, maybe they're a little more rare or more well done than you wanted, and only in the middle is it, medium rare or whatever. With the sous vide, it's really, like I said, you can throw it in this, in there. You come home from work, you throw a couple steaks in there. I've done it from frozen. It works great from frozen as well. So you throw the steaks in there. You go, you walk away. You go hang out with your kids or whatever. You go take a shower and stuff. You come back in a couple hours and the meat is done, and it'll stay there for hours, ready for you when you're ready to just pull them out, sear them, and then dinner's done.
Huh?
It's like a crock pot for like in a crock pot kind of way.
Can't overdo it.
And you can't overdo it. Yeah, exactly. You can't overdo it. Now you can leave it in there for such a long period of time that the meat really starts to break down. But it's good. I've done pork shoulder and stuff, and made pulled pork, made little pig. And you just put it in the sous vide, all your spices, you vacuum seal it up, you put it in there. Either if you got a container with a lid, you put the lid on to keep the water and evaporation down. Or I just cover it with saran wrap, and I go to bed. And sometimes I've done 24-hour cooks, I've done 48-hour cooks, and the meat just comes up to that temperature, whatever it is, 150 degrees or whatever, and it stays there and it just cooks, and it's cooking in those juices in that bag. And unlike a crock pot or something where you can wind up drying out and kind of burning things, you can't do that in there.
We thought we'd had a cooking show going on over here.
Hey, these are the things I think people can try. You can, instead of having fucking DoorDash and Pizza Hut bring you dinner every night, there's great techniques. You get crock pots, pressure cookers.
Yeah, but even then, it's not so common here in Hawaii. I mean, it's starting to catch on, but you can have people do all the meal prep for you, right? And deliver it to your house. Right.
And that's the thing. I've tried all those different little meal boxes, HelloFresh. I've tried Blue Apron. I've done some other ones, and it's nice because exactly the ingredients you need all come in the box, come delivered to your house. From my family, we have 5, so the boxes, the most portions come as 4, so that was a little hard for us, so I stopped doing it. But the ones I've got, I think HelloFresh, they had a little bit more food, and the prices kind of fluctuated a little bit because it depends on what you chose. With Blue Apron, it was the same price no matter what came in the box. All the boxes were the same price. But the food portions were a little bit smaller, but they did a lot better job of packaging it. So there's a little trade-off between the two. I enjoyed both. And it was nice. There's no leftovers. Unless you're a 2-person family, you get a 4-person meal, then you would have leftovers. But it's nice to...
he wants to take lunch,
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. You could do something like that. Ransom, you could get a 4-person meal and you have 4 lunches for you, or 2 dinners and 2 lunches for you. And it's nice because everything you need comes in the box. I think you just need a couple of staples, like some olive oil and salt and pepper, and that's all you really need.
I know you're just talking about portions and stuff, but is it portioned? I don't know how to say this, but in a healthy way?
I would disagree with the healthiness of it. I think it's portioned in the governmental standards of healthy.
Oh, okay.
I think there wasn't enough.
I like how you say that, the governmental standards.
In my opinion, there wasn't enough. Yeah, there wasn't enough vegetables. I think there could be more vegetables.
Yeah, that's another thing too that I'm not sure if people understand. The eating healthy. It's
yeah,
I don't know, man. It's I eat a lot of salad. Is it how much? You go through half a dressing bottle when you do that.
Yeah, right. You throwing some Wishbone Thousand Island all over the top of that. I mean, come on, that's just not. I mean, even that too. Are you just eating iceberg lettuce and celery? You're just eating water with Thousand Island on top of it. I mean,
yeah.
I like to get all kind of fun vegetables and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not so sure people understand the whole, I guess, basics behind either how to correctly portion your meal.
Mm-hmm.
I think you were the one that started me on that back in the day. The P90X.
Oh yeah, I did.
The actual original program came with a diet book.
Mm-hmm.
And that diet book was of balanced meal. It showed you how many portions of carbs and how many portions of protein, fruit and vegetables and stuff that you needed for daily intake, and it took your body weight into consideration. That was actually pretty. I mean, the book was simple. It was
so easy.
It was something it was not even no. It was,
I think
it was a couple sheets of paper that.
Yeah.
And that was legit. That was a pretty good. Was a pretty good intro to meal basics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and my recommendation, and like I said, I only play a doctor on the internet. I'm not one in real life. But my recommendation, what I like to do for me and my family is, let's call it 80% vegetables, all kind of different vegetables, and then 20% protein, whether it's fish.
What about heavy starches? I guess include in vegetables.
If the vegetables starchy, whatever. But I try to limit the rice and the
potatoes,
the white potatoes and things along those lines. The pasta. I like to try and buy If I do buy pasta, I like to try buy vegetable-based pasta. So it's like all made with, spinaches and squashes and different things like that.
Kind of be careful with some of those too, but yeah, for the most part.
Right. I figured if I'm going to have some pasta, at least there's some spinach powder mixed into it. It's not necessarily so horrible.
Yeah, per se. And then like when we talk about pasta too, we're not talking about like cup of noodles and
oh God, please don't eat that.
yeah, like, oh God.
I know it's hard. That's the thing. That's
when I was a broke student, man. You believe me, Vienna sausage and cup of noodles all day.
I've been there. I mean, hey, ramen cents, man, 10 cents a pack. I mean, it's hard to pass it up. Yeah. It's hard. But the thing you got to understand about when you eat that type of food, you actually eat more food. So it actually winds up costing you the same or more if you were to eat a healthy diet. And that's the argument people have. Like, well, it's so cheap to eat this stuff. It's like, right. But you know how many Hot Pockets you're going to eat versus a steak? You're going to be way more full and way more nutritious having a steak. And it's the same price as the whole box of Hot Pockets, but you're going to eat the whole box of Hot Pockets and not be full, So you gotta understand
that. I didn't study to be a doctor, but I went into study the healthcare things. And so you kind of have to find out like what your body actually needs. Like,
right.
If you're eating McDonald's all the time and you find yourself hungry after McDonald's, your body's not necessarily telling you to eat more McDonald's. It just needs more sustenance or nourishment.
Right.
I mean, if it needs steak and you give it vegetables, like you're still going to be hungry after you eat the vegetables because it wants the protein.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Or sometimes it wants the minerals in there as well.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, just because you're hungry doesn't mean you need to eat more of what you have. Like sometimes you have to eat a different source of nutrition because that's what your body actually needs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sometimes you're just thirsty. And sometimes your body's telling you you're hungry, but really what it wants is water or something.
Yeah.
So try. Sometimes when you're hungry, try that. Get a nice glass of water down, and sometimes your hunger will go away, not because you're full of water, because your body actually wanted the water.
Yeah, and then just everybody's different. Every body is different, and all your caloric intake and all of that is all different. You got some people who are allergic to certain foods.
Right.
You can't eat those types of certain foods, or you have some type of allergic reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Just be careful. And even though people say like they lose weight on the Atkins diet or all those kinds of things, or the keto diet or whatever kind of diet you're going on, just understand that those diets do work for some people, but they don't work for all people.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, definitely, if you're going to try one of those things, work with your healthcare professional, your doctor, your family practitioner, whatever. There are a percentage of people where keto diets are horrible for you. It, can mess with your cardiovascular system. There's some people, they don't respond well to, vegetarian or vegan diets. They're, different things. So just be careful, work with your doctor on those things. And there's lots of people that are using technology and just different things like that. They're taking blood work and different stuff and seeing what your body is allergic to and eliminating.
Yeah, seeing what's in your genes is kind of like the new thing too.
Yeah, right. Right, exactly. But learning all these things, you guys can get in the kitchen. You guys can be making these foods. It's not hard. Just getting, watching a couple of videos. I like I said before, Masterclass. Gordon Ramsay's got a nice little thing on there and all the kitchen basic techniques, cooking things, how to chop things, how to blanch vegetables, and how to saute things and how to bake things. Just getting that core set of skills is really great. You're going to save yourself. And not necessarily just a ton of money, but you're going to be able to eat so much better and so much healthier. The biggest thing that I found when I started, getting better quality butter and these different things like that, the simplest foods taste so much better with something as simple as just changing out your margarine or your crock, whatever the country crock for like Kerrygold butter or something like that. It's just a world of difference in the way, food tastes.
Yeah, for sure. But I think we talked enough about the kitchen, dude. It's supposed to be.
Yeah, let's move on to another room in the house.
Things around the house, dude.
What about when the kitchen comes out the other end? when that toilet, we all have that toilet, and they start running, making those little noises and stuff. How do we get that to stop?
I don't know. I think when we had this conversation, you were like, "What were you trying to tell me? Like you lift up the tank or something?" Is that what you're saying?
Right. That's funny how we had two completely different perspectives on this. When my toilet runs, I took the lid off, and I'm like, what's going on in here that I need to fix? And you were like, I just jiggle the handle and make the flap goes back down. I was like,
yeah. So I guess for those of you that, you know, if you don't know what's in your toilet tank or how a toilet runs in general, there's a little floater device. So the tank has to fill up to actuate this floater device.
So the back of your tank that's fills with water, that back piece on the back of your tank.
Yeah. And with that, like there's a little flap that, you know, seals off the drain in the tank so that the toilet tank can fill itself and the floater can stop the water. But in essence, if your toilet keeps running after you flush it, it's more than likely going to be that flap, like almost 90% of the time. It's that flap just doesn't sit right and seal. So for me, you know, I guess that's just the upholder in me. Like, I just want to get the job done. I don't need to see, I don't need any data like Tyson is a question over there. I don't need to see what's in the toilet. I don't need to know what's going on. I know 90% of the time it's going to be that flap. So you just grab the handle and you kind of jiggle it a little bit, not to the point where you flush it, but you just want to jiggle it just a little bit to kind of reseat that flap. Like 90% of the time, that'll get the toilet to stop running. And then after I jiggle the handle a couple times, if it doesn't, then I will open up the tank to look in it. But I'm not just going to go dive straight into the tank, like right off the bat, dude. That's crazy.
I must say, after hearing your thing, I'm going to change my technique to flicker the flap. And then if need be, I'll go into data collecting mode.
All right, man. I'm glad I could help you out there. If those of you listening, if that helps you out too, I am grateful. I'm grateful.
And now, if we've gone through all those steps and you've determined that rubber flap has gotten old and deteriorated, you can easily go to Walmart, Target, Amazon will probably send it to you, and just get the little kit. It's super easy to change that stuff out. Don't need to be intimidated. Don't need to hire a plumber. You know, for $100 an hour, you can easily go on YouTube and watch a thing. If you follow the instructions on the package, I've done it many a times. I never knew how to do it until I read the instructions. It's really easy to change those components right out, and you'll feel proud about yourself. And you can just, you know, handle that. You know, girl, guy, you know, handy or not, super easy skills to learn. Save yourself a few bucks. So you can get something more enjoyable out of life.
All right. So when your sink clogs, do you like go down there and like take everything off and look at the drain to this guy?
I know in my house, I've got, you know, two girls, and especially my wife. She's got a lot of hair, and it's really
so do I nowadays. I got a lot of hair now.
You've got a lot of hair. I am envious of all people with hair because I don't have much left.
Oh,
but I'm cool with that. That's the way it goes. Yeah. Anyhow, generally in my house, what happens is the stopper that you pull up and down for the sink that clogs the sink to let it fill with water. Generally, that's wrapped with a bunch of hair, and I just take that out and I undo all the hair from that. I like to get like a really long needle nose pliers, and then stick that down there and grab the hair, and you can just usually pull that clog right out, and then it just flows right out. If need be, I have gone down there and taken the sink. So when you look under your sink, what it looks like is a U. It's like it's a little trap to help. What it does is the U shape is there so that the gases and stuff from the sewage line doesn't come back up in through the pipe. So usually that U shape, there's something caught in there, there's a buildup of soaps and paraffins and stuff that coat the pipe and get built up. Most times you can just unscrew those pretty easily. Nowadays, in my house is a little bit newer. They're just they're like little handles on those things. You don't even need wrenches. You just unscrew them, and those things come right off. You can just go in there, clean that thing right out, and your sink will be back to normal. You can also try, like I said earlier, some baking soda. You just dump some baking soda down the drain, and then chase out a little bit of vinegar, and that'll kind of help bubble some things out of the way.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna quite get rid of hair, but
no, it won't get rid of hair. But if there's not debris, but like build up and stuff in there to help kind of clear out some of the buildup.
Yeah, some of the buildup. Yeah.
But most times, if you got females or you've got long hair, it's probably hair caught around the stopper.
Yeah, and then for those people that if you don't have the stopper, you know, like I have an older house and like the stopper is like completely gone. Like the hair is probably going to be in that drain part. But they got a lot of products you can buy, like a little mesh screen.
Yeah.
For that as preventive maintenance on your kitchen sink and also your little sink.
Yeah.
I think I've seen a little thing. It's called like a shower shroom. I don't know if you've seen that little plastic cap that
with a chain on it.
No, dude, it's like a little plastic. Looks like a little plastic cap with holes in it, like a. You just put it right inside your drain. They got them for sinks too. And those things are just like little hair filters. So as the hair goes down, it'll collect on the shroom, and you just pull the shroom out, and then just unwrap all the hair on it, and just load it back in.
Oh, that's interesting.
Shower shroom, just little simple preventive maintenance for things around the house if the drains clogged by hair all the time.
Yeah, and save yourself $50-$100. It'll take you just a few minutes, and just clean it. Most times it's hair, and just clean it real quick. And if you're you guys have short hair, or you don't really, anybody in your house has long hair, it's a bunch of males or whatever, just try a little baking soda and vinegar. Try to stay away from the Drano and different types of those products. They're really toxic and corrosive.
Yeah, they can do some more damage to your drain system at times.
Right. And then when it goes to the water collection facility and stuff, it really is harmful in our water, period. But those things are usually really simple. And like I said, it's really easy to take that U shape off. Put a little bucket under there, a little tub or something like that.
I wouldn't go as far to say as it's easy. If you have a little mechanical aptitude, I'd say it's easy.
It's great to do. What I like to do, I take pictures of it before I mess with it.
Watch a YouTube video first, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah. But I say, even even if you're not a handyman type or mechanically inclined, it's simple to learn. A lot of times, like I said, nowadays you don't even need any wrenches at all.
I'm not trying to discourage people. I'm just saying you're making it sound like it's easy for somebody who just has like no mechanical aptitude whatsoever.
And that's kind of my problem. I feel like these things are easy. I've done so many times. I don't know how I learned them. And my wife tells me, all those things just come easy to you. And I'm like, well, maybe they do. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but definitely if you watch the YouTube video, you can say to yourself, hey, I can do that, or maybe I should call a plumber for it. Yeah.
Or you know what? Try it. And if you fail, you can always call a plumber. I was messing with my, when I first moved into this house, I put in my Nest thermostat, and I never had this type of air conditioning system before. So I went outside to the circuit panel, and I hit the circuit panel outside, not knowing that there's a separate switch in the attic for the air conditioner. And when I installed the Nest thermostat, I had blown the fuse up in the attic. So I hooked everything back up. I turned everything on. I was like, why is the air conditioner not working? Mm-hmm. And I spent a few days trying to figure it out. I took the air conditioner apart up in the attic. I don't recommend that. But I was like, there's got to be a fuse in here. I must have blown, And I looked all around. I couldn't find it. So I had to call the air conditioning guy to come out and diagnose it. And then he just goes and he moves some wires to the side. He's like, he pulls a fuse out. Oh, your fuse is blown. And I was like, I was looking for that for 3 days. He's like, yeah, it's kind of hidden. It's hard to find that you don't know about it. I was like, thanks. And I was like, how much for this lesson in air conditioning? He's like, $50. I'm like, sounds good. Thank you. But now I know where that fuse is and what I need to do. That cost me $50. I broke it. I had somebody show me how to get it back to normal. And we're good. It cost me $50 for like a $1.17 fuse.
Yeah. All right. That's cool. So
don't be afraid, don't be afraid to try things. I break things every day. I've got to call customer service or maintenance and, have them walk me through how to fix it or what did I do. So.
Yeah, for sure. But
same thing with the tubs. You guys check the hair in the tub. A lot of times it's simple, pull out a hairball.
Yeah, I definitely think so. What about other things in the house? What about, as silly as it sounds, I've dabbled in real estate and property managers, but do you know how to change a light bulb?
That can get kind of complicated. Some of these light fixtures, those covers and stuff on them, you've got to finagle with them and just
that's true.
Pull them or tilt them, or how many screws do I have to undo? Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's a different amount of, there's so many different light fixtures, and they have, some of them have that little chain thing, right, where you gotta like pull it off and then like let it dangle, unhook the chain to get it completely off so you can like access the light.
Yeah.
Some you gotta like press the secret button on the sides and then
yes.
It's like,
yeah. Yeah, there's lots of different types. I would say, like with everything, just kind of look around, and if you see little screws or something, you gotta maybe undo those. Maybe there's caps or something, a plate or something covering the screws or the mechanism. Take it out. Like changing light bulbs is not intimidating. I know I've talked to people. They're worried they're gonna get shocked.
Yeah.
In order to get, you've got to really do a lot of weird things to get yourself shocked in a light socket, and really, it doesn't really hurt.
This says the guy who shocks himself.
I've shocked myself many times.
I remember this thing with a bug zapper light for some reason.
That's worse than an outlet, well, not the outlet, but when you go to change an outlet, if you don't turn the breaker off, that's you just get a nice little like light buzz.
Oh, this guy.
But like if you got a light bulb that's broken off, like the bulb cover broke, you could get shocked. Make sure the switch is off. And if it's dark, just go get a flashlight or something. Hopefully you guys have flashlights around the house. But you can get like a little towel, or you can get like a potato or something like that. And you can stick it into the light bulb to help turn it out.
Potato. All right.
Oh, really? It does work. Yeah. I just get pliers and I just...
Just also keep in mind that, light bulbs do conduct electricity. So, if you're handling the light bulb after it's been on for like 30 minutes, it's more than likely going to be warm. Just be aware of that. Again, it might be common knowledge, but there might be some people out there who don't know.
Common knowledge is not common practice.
Oh, and then what about like fluorescent lights? A lot of people think like when the fluorescent light goes out, it's the bulb. But even for those, like I'd say 70% of the time, or no, maybe not 70, 50% of the time, it's the ballast.
I would say it's a good. Now, so if you have fluorescent lights, like in my walk-in closet, I have fluorescent lights. A lot of times you just kind of go to the top of the light and you just kind of peel back that plastic a little and it comes off that track, and the thing will either completely come off or sometimes it's hung on by a chain. And if you look up at the light and you see towards the end, usually the cap is green or something like that or whatever, it'll be black. If you see that black there inside the light bulb is burned out.
Yeah, for sure.
But now if you look at the light bulbs and you don't see the black, then what they call the ballast, so it's like the power inverter transformer thing that's in the fluorescent light, that is burned out.
Yeah.
Those are super easy to change. I'm sure a YouTube video or two, familiarizing yourself with it, get the tools you need. They're really quite simple to change. They're readily available at home improvement stores. Give it a whirl.
Yeah, for sure. And it's Ballast. I had a hard time spelling it when I was Googling it, but B as in ball, ALLAST as in Thomas. Ballast.
Yeah, absolutely. And, also with those light bulbs, if you have some older light bulbs, they do contain mercury. So please, dispose of them properly, and don't, if they do break, try not to breathe that air in until it dissipates.
Yeah, they do have the gases that are kind of dangerous. Most of the ones nowadays, they'll have the little plastic sheet or plastic coating on it. So if you do manage to break it, it kind of stays concealed.
Self-contained. And I say, hey, if you're changing them out, go get some LED ones. Those LED ones are really nice, and you don't have to worry about it again.
Yeah, true.
And you can guarantee if that light doesn't work, it's the ballast, it's not the LED light bulbs. Things are good for a long time. But they're really inexpensive. I bought a pack of 2 Costco for $20. LED fluorescent style light bulbs. Much better light too. And you don't get that flickering and stuff from it.
Yeah. And again, I don't know who's out there listening to this video. We might have somebody who just doesn't know about these kind of things, but just make sure your light fixture is plugged into the wall and has a power source of some kind.
Yes.
And then because I live in an older house, sometimes, or I should say most of the times, it's going to be the bottom outlet that's attached to the light switch. So if you have a light switch on the wall that doesn't actively turn on a light in your house, sometimes those light switches in the on position will activate an outlet. And sometimes it only activates like the bottom outlet. Like the top outlet will work all the time, but the bottom outlet will only work if you turn the light on. So
Yeah.
Some of those kind of things are a little troubleshooting.
Yeah.
Be common knowledge for people, but then again, some people don't know.
And you know what's interesting? I'd never seen before until I got this house. The outlets in this house that were connected to a light switch were upside down.
Okay.
I was like, that's pretty clever.
Yeah, they let you know that way, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. And then I had to go around and turn them on the like, I don't want an upside down outlet. I had to go turn them all around. But that's another thing that happens. You know, and then I like the smart light bulbs.
Ooh, smart light bulbs.
They're a lot of fun. Yeah, exactly. You know, hey Google, turn off the lamp.
Whoa,
I think it's fun.
Whoa, take it easy with that. Yeah. Huh?
But I have in my living room, I have the smart lights, and they're on a schedule. They go with the sun. As it starts to get dark at night, the light gets a little dimmer and a little more yellow. They're fun, but you know, if you got Wi-Fi goes down, sometimes the lights don't work so well. I mean, they can still turn them on and off, but you're not going to get all the fun features and stuff like that. And you know, you got to make sure the firmware stays updated, and it's really kind of funny sometimes.
Wait a minute. You need a software update for your light bulbs? Why does that not even sound right? Like, my light bulbs are updating software.
That's what. When I don't remember what I was doing. My mom was like, "What's wrong with the light?" And I was like, "Oh, it's doing a software update."
She thought you're just being a smart ass.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh no, really?" And I was like, "No, the light bulb. Look, it's getting a software update right now. Just give it a minute." She's like, "Your light bulbs are getting software updates?" I'm like, "Yeah." But they add some new features and they tweak the settings a little and different things and stuff. I think they're great and they're wonderful. And hey, guess what? They change just like regular light bulbs. You just unscrew them and screw them in. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, but don't forget the Wi-Fi and the software update though.
You need to download the app most times and log in and you can set it all up.
Basic components, because if you don't have, I mean, I'm sure these smart lights are smart enough to work on a switch, but
they do.
I might be assuming things there.
They do, but you just don't get any of the features unless you hook them up to the Wi-Fi. But if your Wi-Fi network was to go down and there's a storm or something like that, yes, the lights do still turn on and off, but you just lose the features.
The features, interesting.
But they're fun. I mean, I'd say get them. You know, super easy to change. If you're gonna get a new light bulb, I mean, they're fun. You can put them in movie modes and music modes, and there's discos and there's holiday themes. A Halloween one is fun. It flickers and you get the orange, and
they even have them. You can like hook them up to your iPod or whatever, or like you can listen to the music and just blink to the beat and have your own little radio in your house. Like, I don't know, man. Yeah.
I have my labels are like that. You can set it onto the music mode and it'll go to the beat of the music. It's pretty fun. The kids enjoy it.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, don't be afraid, guys. Get in there, change your light bulbs, throw some LEDs in there, throw some smart light bulbs. They're super easy to change. Most times the hard part, like I said, is getting that cover off. Just play with it a little bit. You'll figure it out.
Interesting. And then I know you were talking a little bit about fuses.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings me to a thing. Like, I don't know if people really know about fuses or the breaker box in general.
Yeah. So what fuses are is it's a it's like a little circuit that's in between two power sources, and if there's a surge or something goes wrong and the power is coming through too hard, it'll break that. Either it's a little piece of metal that'll snap, or there's a panel in your house with it's called a breaker. It'll just kind of pop, and it'll be like in the middle position. It won't be on, it won't be off, and that's just generally to help things from catching a fire or whatever, getting a power surge.
Safety reasons.
Yeah.
Nowadays, even to especially with the newer houses, they have these things called GFCI outlets, and they're usually near any water sources in either or in your kitchen, outdoors, or in your bathrooms. So those are outlets. Like if you ever wonder why, for some reason your hairdryer doesn't work, just kind of look at the outlet, and then if you look at the outlet, it'll say like reset or ground. Basically, you just hit the reset button on there, and then like your hairdryer will work again. It just means you trip the breaker, right? That's right there inside your socket.
Yeah, you overload that outlet or whatever. Same thing in kitchen. You try to plug your blender and it's not working. Find the one in your kitchen, and if you have an older house and you don't have those GFCI outlets.
Yeah,
Then you need to go find the electrical panel. So it's generally, you know, mine is outside my side yard.
the laundry room,
Right.
common places.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're in the kitchen.
Right. So just look around your house, familiarize yourself with where it is. It's like a little, looks like a kind of like a medicine cabinet. It's got a little,
It's metal. It's
right,
metal.
it's metal. It's got a little door on it. Usually just kind of lift up the plastic handle a little and the door will swing open and you'll see everything in there. If you had a nice electrician, they'll neatly label everything. Not, you might have to do some troubleshooting. Turn a bunch of lights on in the room and flick a switch and see what happens.
Yeah, and usually as you open up the door handle, or as you open up the door, on the door we'll have the schematic of, you know, this breaker goes to the bathroom, this breaker goes to, it depends.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, and so yeah, if you go in there and then when you just look at the panel, everything will be generally all into the on position. And if one is kind of in the middle, that's the breaker that it popped per se. It just got overloaded, and as a safety precaution, it took us up to the middle. You just go ahead and flick that either, you know, over to off and then back on. Or sometimes you can just go right to the on position.
Yeah,
sometimes
it doesn't go all the way, so you actually have to take it all the way to the off position first, and then move it back to the on position.
Right.
Else.
Like I said, if you're scared or you're intimidated, I understand looking at that can be intimidating. You're just like, what is all this? Check a YouTube video real quick and see how it is. It's not scary. You just go on, off. Now, if the thing on the other end, that thing that was plugged in or whatever, there could be some danger there. Just be aware that when you add power back to that,
make sure you save your computer files before.
Yes. Unplug your computer before you switch that back on.
Yeah, but
yeah, but just it's a good rule of thumb if you have somebody else around to say, hey, stand here, I'm going to go back and flip the breaker back. And then, you know, things can happen. There's a reason it tripped. You know, maybe there's the appliance or whatever is faulty and it could be overdrawing power. Just be careful. There's a reason that happened.
But yeah, I mean, in general, the breaker box is safe as long as you're not opening things. And
yes. Please don't unscrew things. You can die very quickly.
In the household, it's not so bad. But I remember working at one of my jobs, like we went to like the circuit breaker for the entire building.
Yeah.
And like I was looking at the maintenance guy and I was like, so we're gonna draw straws to see who flips that breaker back on? Like that's scary. Like it's like for a whole building, dude. You're just like, I was like, I don't even know what the voltage is on that thing, dude. It's
gigawatts.
It was scary, dude. It's like, all right. It's like, I was like, whoo. But for your house, shouldn't be that scary.
Right. Just as long as you know, just touch the plastic, you know, try not to just don't mess with it. Just flick it on and off, you know, off and then back on. You're fine. Or if you need to do something, you need to change out your washer, dryer. It's always a nice precaution to go out there and turn those off. You're putting a new stove in or something like that. It's a nice precaution to go out there and hit them to the off position. Don't be scared of turning them off and then back on.
And I guess just talking about cutoff valves and stuff too is for they also have them for plumbing. So
yes,
you know, some of the good questions are where the main water shutoffs for your unit. If you live in a condo, there may or may not be one.
Yeah.
Because you have to shut it off to the whole building. But usually, if you're in your own house or whatever, your house will have its own shutoff valve. And then same thing with the toilets. You know, if you look underneath the toilet and underneath your sinks, you should have some type of shutoff valves going there as well.
Yeah, usually it's a little silver oval handle.
Yeah, or some of if you got a commercial one or whatever, it'll be like a little 90-degree,
right,
little thing that you turn and stuff like that. So
yeah,
you know, just in general, again, things around the house, like anytime you deal with electricity or water, these things, if they run rampant, they can tend to cause some damage. So, you know, they do have little shut-off systems throughout the house where you can either turn off a breaker to cut off the electricity to one part of the house, and same thing with the water. You can turn off the water to a specific faucet and or tub or sink. And if you can't find where the water is leaking from, there should be a main shut-off valve to the house and or condo that you're in.
Yeah, and go familiarize yourself with where that is. Generally, in a house, It's clearly marked outside as like either a metal or a plastic lid, and it says water, whatever city or county, or sometimes it's got their own.
Some, at least here in Hawaii, some of them are in like the little, it's like a little concrete cylinder.
Yes.
And then you just, they're not always plastic, but.
Yeah, sometimes they're plastic, sometimes they're metal. They're always clearly marked with water. Yeah. And open it up. Don't be scared. Watch out for critters. Sometimes there could be snakes or rats or scorpions or wherever you live.
Yeah. Some mongoose chilling.
Never seen a mongoose, but I'm sure it's possible.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So, some good, things around the house for you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Anything else we can think of? We kind of just went through a long list of things, like just from the kitchen to
we did.
Kind of like a lot of things there, but
we did. Yeah, just familiarize yourself with these things. Don't be scared of them. Be cautious. Don't be reckless. But there's nothing to be scared about. I would say 90, 95, 99% of the time, it's perfectly fine. If you fuck up, it's okay. You can just call the professional. And then you can talk with them and say, hey, why did I fuck up here? How did I do this? Or like, oh, there's this nuance thing, or I see this problem all the time, or this thing fails a lot and people don't realize it. I'm a professional, so I see it a lot. And next time you'll know.
Yeah, for sure.
And then when the professional comes in, they're not going to pull a wool over on you and say, oh, you need to do this and this and that. And you're like, no, I don't. So I familiarize myself with these things, and I know that you're just trying to upsell me on things I don't necessarily need.
Yeah, it's true. All right. Well, hey, man, I think that's we hit everything we wanted to hit today, I guess.
I think so. Is there anything else you want to do? Any things around the house that we haven't hit?
No, but I just think just want to let people know out there that this is probably going to be an ongoing series. Things you should know about. Just kind of let us know in the comments or hit us up on whatever social media sites you guys have and give us some feedback. If there's some questions you want answers to, we're definitely open to feedback, and we'll get a little series here about things you should know and just kind of pose questions out there and hopefully get some answers for them. It's kind of, I think that's where we're headed with this.
Yeah, we got a pretty long list. Not only the ones we came up with, I got a bunch of great responses from you folks out there, friends and fellow fans. Keep them coming in. We'll go through all these and let you guys know about everything we can. And if we don't know and we don't have the answers, we'll get an extra on here to let you guys know about how we get these things going.
All right, cool.
Yeah, the more hey, like G.I. Joe, right? Knowing's half the battle.
That is for sure.
But hey, if you want to win the battle in life and at work, with your fellow human beings, neighbors, jump onto this month's giveaway and get the ultimate leadership pack so you can lead your people, the plumber around, whoever you need, get these things done. Or if you're not a leader yet and you want to become one, and you get in here, Jocko Willink's book, Extreme Ownership, his newest book, Dichotomy of Leadership, Ryan Holiday's Ego is the Enemy and the Obstacle is the Way. All those books, all 4 of those is part of this giveaway. It's going to go all month long. At the time of recording this, about 2 more weeks. So Halloween, the 31st is the last day to enter the giveaway. And then after that, we'll be doing give back for the rest of the year. So head over again to thesocialchameleon.show /pick-me for your chance to win the ultimate leadership pack.
Cool. You got a challenge this week for us, Tyson?
I do.
All right.
I challenge you to familiarize yourself with these things around the house. Get a knife in your hand, practice chopping it, holding it well. It's not sharp. Try and sharpen it. Whatever you have, if you've got some a little bit more expensive knives, I recommend either learning how to sharpen it with a whetstone or finding a professional. Don't be scared. Be safe. Don't be scared of doing these things. Find out where your breaker panel is. Find out where your water meter is. Find out these things around your house. Don't be shy to take apart a little bit of the plumbing. If you don't get it back, it's okay. Familiarize yourself with these things. Get to know them, and then when you get a little bit further along in life, or if you want to spend time doing other things, you can hire professionals, and you're gonna know what they're doing, if they're doing a good job, if they're doing it correctly. and all these different types of things. So I challenge you guys, familiarize yourself with these simple things around the house and up your level, up your game a little bit.
Yeah, awesome. And I guess I'll take it off with the final thoughts from here. It's like today's final thought. I'd probably just like to sum it all up to curiosity. Don't get focused on how curiosity killed the cat, but a little curiosity is how we all got started, right? Just kind of remember as children, right? You're always curious. Oh, daddy, how does this work? Mommy, how does this work? Like, you know, and it's just kind of like, show me this and show me that. And that's kind of what we try to want to focus on. The more curiosity you have to inquire about things, that's kind of what gets your knowledge base up. You got to practice that, get that out there. And I think that's it. Anything else you got, Tyson?
So I will try to link some of my favorite YouTube videos and different resources for you guys, so you guys can start learning these things. At least you're watching these videos and you're getting familiar with them. At least you know what it looks like and how it's supposed to go. So if you don't want to tackle it and a professional comes in, you can look at them and say, wait a minute, you're doing extra things that I don't need you to be doing, or you're doing something funky. Just familiarize. I'm not saying being paranoid, but I'll link a bunch of things for you guys to start learning and start familiarizing yourself with that. And if you think that this could help somebody that you know that should know about these things, doesn't, maybe they want to learn, maybe they want to try, or maybe you think they should get those skills. Maybe it's one of your kids or brothers or sisters, somebody that you're tired of them calling you. You know, share this with them so they can familiarize yourself with these simple things around the house we've got today. And, you know, you guys can follow us, like I said, all week long on at thesocialchameleon.show, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You guys can subscribe on YouTube and all your favorite podcast apps. If you guys want to leave a review, that would be absolutely amazing. It does help us reach more amazing people like you. And for past episodes and links to everything we've talked about here today, you can visit thesocialchameleon.show. And until next time, keep learning, growing, and transforming into the person you want to become.